Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Nordic Championship, where we now are going live with Celestial Gaming versus Ventus Esports. We are going to see Celestial Gaming play versus Denmark's both teams today, and the reason for this is that these two teams are now tied 1-1, which honestly is something that I didn't quite expect just looking at the paper, looking at the player roster. I know Celestial Gaming has been playing better than ever before, but this is a level that was above my expectations.
For sure, we are seeing the big tournament favorites going up right here. Ventus Esports against quite an unknown team, second team from Norway. So not really expecting too much from Celestial Gaming, but they've been surprising us with some great performances. 1-1 in this best out of three. Can they take the series?
I sure think they can, definitely, but like it's something that I didn't even expect to see like this. We need to mention though that Kriesland is playing the ADC, the marksman, so to speak, excuse me, instead of Pinoy. So that is something that Ventus Esports has to struggle a little bit with. Celestial Gaming, though, is a team that has been playing together for the longest time. They're very well coordinated, and I expect this to be the main reason as to why they're doing this well versus Ventus Esports, who we talked about earlier today. Didn't expect to have to talk about it today, actually, but still we're doing it. We think that this is a team with the strongest lineup.
Yeah, and I think this is a really good storyline with the Celestial Gaming not having the strongest individual players, but a very strong team spirit and a lot of experience together versus the big individual star players for Ventus, but they've not been able to play together for that long of a time. And as you said, they have a sub, not the big star AD carry Pinoy. Instead, they've got Chrisland, who is, of course, very experienced and a strong player in his own right, but he is no Pinoy.
Absolutely. Pinoy is the player we expected to be one of these big star players in this tournament, not playing tonight. Friesland is up for the task instead. Zoe has been banned, so has LeBlanc been, and Urgot by Ventus Esports.
So we're looking for Sion as one of the big champions that are still open here. Also have to mention Yasuo, really strong mid laner or top laner, but Lucian is also a very strong AD carry. So those are three picks that I'm expecting to see early on here. There is the Lucian, very strong, dominant early game AD carry. Sion is the big top laner that's open with Silas and Urgot getting banned away, and Yasuo just extremely strong right now.
Absolutely. Yasuo still on the table. Jace, Silas, and Lissandra has been banned by Celestial Gaming, going for the Lucian first pick, and the Lee Sin towards the jungle for Ventus Esports.
Yamash really known for his carry style in the jungle, loves the picks like Nidalee that are able to make a lot of things happen early on, and Lee Sin is definitely a mechanical champion, so excited to see what he can do. Also would work together with Yasuo, but maybe that's not something that you want to pick quite this early on.
You keep mentioning this Yasuo, and I need to talk about this because Yasuo on this patch is one of those big power picks, isn't he?
Yeah, for sure. With the changes and the buffs to the crit items that he loves to build, he's just been such a strong champion in the highest leagues in LCS. He's been really prioritized very highly in the LEC as well, but not getting picked up so far by any of these teams. I do think Dipsy really wants to go for a jungler here, because if you're not doing that, then Ventus can target jungle in the second round of bans, try to get him away from one of those early game champions that can go toe-to-toe with the Lee Sin, like something like the Olaf or the Nocturne, but instead they're going to go with the Ryze, which is still a flex pick, can go both mid and top lane.
Absolutely, and Ryze also scaling so well together with the strong bot lane pick here with Lucian and Thresh is something that I really like from Celestial Gaming.
Yeah, and finding ways to punish this Jinx pick is going to be a big thing for them. Having like the big CC skill shots to bring her down, because she is, of course, an immobile AD carry, is going to be very important. I'm also curious to see if they're going to be targeting the support champion pool right here, Celestial Gaming, that is. If they want to get away something like a Tom Kench, something like a Braum away in the second ban phase to be able to put more pressure on towards the Jinx here. That's actually the strategy I would like to see from them here.
Absolutely, and Jinx also one of those champions that has been really strong with these new item changes when you look at just solo queue, but Jinx in a professional level of play can be punished in so many ways, which means it's quite a risky pick for Kriesland coming in as the sub this game. So I like it. It's a bit cheeky, actually.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely can work out, but What I don't like is picking two immobile carries together, so you've got both Jinx and Syndra without any sort of mobility spells, versus the Thresh and the Ryze. It's going to be a hard time, but even if they pick, like, there's so many picks in the jungle that can punish this. Even something like a Zac, sure, you won't be able to do too much early on into the Lee Sin, but later on, playing Zac into two immobile carries is going to be having such a good time. I would love to see the Tahm Kench get banned away, but it's going to be the other one that I mentioned, the Braum, instead there. So getting rid of some of those defensive supports for Ventus.
Absolutely, but Tahm Kench still open, as you mentioned, Syndra. She is very mobile, but she has that huge burst, of course, and in the early levels has quite a strong pushing power versus a Ryze as well, before he managed to level up his abilities and one-shot the waves the way a Ryze wants to do. And towards the support, looking at another defensive support, it's the Janna in this case versus the Thresh, which, sure, if you're good at avoiding the hook, but if you get just hit once by that thing, it's going to be a disaster for you with such a squishy support champion.
Absolutely. This is going to be a very interesting skill matchup in the bottom lane. Eski's Thresh versus Quickset on this Janna. And which junglers is going to be for Dipsy? Who is going to be playing to target out this Jinx Janna bottom lane? I would really like the Zac myself, giving up some of that early pressure to have so much presence later on. The important thing is that it's a ganker that can punish this Janna Jinx lane, because if this goes late, it's going to be very scary for Celestial. They'll need to pressure them early on.
Are they actually going for the Elise or going for the Kha'Zix instead? Something that can duel versus Lee Sin when he scales up, but in the early stages, there aren't that many junglers that can go toe-to-toe with a Lee Sin, especially with Nocturne off the table being banned by Ventus Esports.
Yeah, counter pick opportunity in top lane here for Sleeping. Could choose to just go for... Ooh, that's going to be a tanky Puppey, actually, so... Just decide to go for a tank. There were a lot of carries open, even the Yorick that been seeing on the ban list earlier. Such a strong champion at the moment that you can play into the side, but it's going to be the tank versus tank matchup up towards the top side. So we really need to target Ryze towards the bottom lane, because Crystalline and Quicksith, Jinx, Janna, easy to punish early on if you've got the tools and you've got the Thresh, you've got the Ryze being able to gap close with that CC. But as I said, if this goes late with the buffed crit items for Jinx with an Ardent on this Janna, it's going to be a very rough time for Celestial Gaming, so they need to make things happen on the bottom half of the map.
Absolutely, and they need to do this versus the Lee Sin that has so much early game potential. And of course, Kha'Zix being strong as well, Lucian and Thresh, they potentially could land those hooks, make huge plays and get a big lead, which they need to get. But if they let this match get out of hand, they're going to be completely outscaled. I mean, Lucian is not the same type of hyper carry that a Jinx is.
Yeah, for sure. And being a short-ranged AD carry into the Syndra, that means you're going to be having a bad time, because if you ever dash in to try to get damage on someone other than the Puppey or the Lee Sin in the front line, you're going to be having a Syndra ultimate to your face, and that's going to be like 2/3 of your HP, at least even more, if the Syndra gets fed early on. So a tough matchup to play the Lucian later on. As I said, they need to punish early on in the bottom side.
Also, Poppy with a steadfast presence will make it more difficult to be able to kite the team fights if Poppy is able to get up in your face. You can't really use Relentless Pursuit anymore as Lucian. You can't use Kha'Zix to jump in. You can't even use Thresh to try to get with the death sentence and jump in with that. So an interesting pick for the top lane, going for Poppy, and I can see this working out in some ways, but at the same time, how will Poppy be able to handle this lane versus a Sion?
I do believe it's just going to be more of a farming matchup, especially early on. I don't think anyone is going to be having a particular advantage. Maybe the Sion will have the pushing lead early on, since you've got a lot more AoE when it comes to dealing with the wave, but on the other hand, it did receive some nerfs recently, some damage on the Q and cooldown on the W, so we'll be having a bit of a harder time with it. Oh! Quickset, what are you doing?
Quickset simply walks into the enemy jungle, does not expect anyone to be inside that bush. Well, someone indeed was, picking up the first blood. And that is a huge lead to have as the Kha'Zix in the jungle.
That is insanely big for Celestial Gaming, getting the lead right there. Longsword level 1 for Dipsy, that's going to be making his ganks so much better. this dueling so much better, and he's going to be clearing the jungle so much faster with this extra item, and it all comes from Quickseth not respecting Celestial Gaming in the slightest, just walking in with the Janna, not warding the bush, wanting to get the deeper ward down. Such a good play from Celestial Gaming.
Absolutely, Celestial Gaming will be very happy with this. Now the blue buff start for Dipsy. Ulberg moves towards his top lane after helping his jungler out. As the red buff start for Mage.
So taking a look at the 1v at level 1 once more, they did do something very interesting where they Celestial Gaming walk in with the Rise and the Thresh on the top side of the map. They immediately get spotted out by Ventus, which means that they think that all of the members of Celestial are walking in towards the top side, and that is what makes Quickseth and Crystalland go into the bottom side of the map to try to get some deep vision onto Celestial Gaming, but only to get greeted by the Decimating Smash coming out of Kulberg. Very smart level 1 play from Celestial. They've really been thinking this through.
Smart indeed, and decimating indeed as well. Now Dipsy chasing down this Rift Scuttler will have to smite it as he sees Mage coming up. Will get stunned though, taking heavy damage, has to flash away. His Safeguard is going to keep Mage very safe in this situation. Actually, honestly, I need to ask you right now, how do you pronounce that name? Is it Maid? Maged?
I go Maid probably.
Maid probably, yeah.
Because I like Maid. No, I don't.
Okay, all right, we're gonna go with Maid. Just because of that. And, well, I'm really happy to see Celestial Gaming playing at this level right now because, like, Maid is falling quite a bit behind, although the Dipsy had to flash in that situation, trying to kind of, I don't know, maybe make something happen, forcing another summoner spell maybe, but Maid is happiest to safeguard away.
Yeah, he wanted to drag Maid under the mid lane tower, and if Sandia would have had level 3 or would have leveled up the Rune Prism level 2, pretty sure that would have been a kill or at least a flash.
Oh! Whoa! Solo kill under the turret, sleeping, making sure this Poppy pick works. And Kulberg did not expect the burst damage that Poppy can deal.
Wow, that was just a big Poppy rotation, getting half HP off perhaps the tankiest champion in the game. Of course, it's not that tanky early on at this point, but still being able to 1v1 a tank under the tower there. Sleeping is up to a great start, and he is really a top lane star in the Nordic scene. He has so much experience, been playing in a lot of different regional leagues. I'm really looking forward to see this guy play across this tournament.
Absolutely, really showing the difference in experience there. Good flash by Sonya is going to avoid getting stunned and caught out by the Lee Sin, but those are now 2 flashes for Celestial Gaming without really gaining anything.
Yeah, that is pretty important. Maid has been able to burn 2 flashes, so I really want to see him make his return towards the mid lane after he's hit level 6. That's really the big point for the Lee Sin. So if you're able to get that up and then make some pressure happen. On the other side, for Celestial Gaming, I mentioned the bottom side. I think you either need to target Crystalland and Quickseth directly because you're playing this immobile duo that can't really be able to dodge away from the hooks. So either you need to put on pressure on them directly or use the pressure that you're getting from pushing in the bottom side, from getting priority in the bottom lane to make things happen on the bottom side of the map. First Dragon is the Ocean, which is still quite good early on, so that's definitely something that Dipsy can look for, especially if it chooses to evolve the Q at level 6, which gives you such a strong dragon take.
Absolutely, and they would like to get this dragon for free if they can with all of this pressure they have bottom. And as you mentioned, they haven't really done that much with this pressure so far. No real death sentences landing, not any CS lead to talk about in the bot lane as well, so they need to make something happen with this.
And you can see some visual bugs here right now. You do have to remain calm though, because this is not something that's happening to the players, it's only for spectators. So the players are seeing the game just fine. How do I know that? Because the players would have been pausing the game and complaining if they saw that kind of thing.
I think I was very worried there for a second, like, Sion can teleport now? That was not something that I expected. Oh, a great Q lands, and Kulberg sacrifices his life yet again as Maid comes up top lane to capitalize on this huge pressure that Sleeping is emitting with his Poppy.
Dipsy is getting a large farm lead in the jungle, but Made can still remain happy because he's making so many things happen across the map, burning 3 flashes and getting a kill. Then it doesn't really matter if you're 20 CS behind, because you're keeping up in experience with the with a kill, and you've also burning flashes to set up for your level 6 gank. So once that Dragon's Rage has been unlocked and you have the flash and the enemy doesn't, that's basically a free kickback in any lane that you want to go for.
Just, you know, Lee Sin things. Just like this in the mid lane, another Lee Sin thing just happening again. Sonya doesn't have his flash. Made's waiting around forever just to make sure that they can pick it up. And Priestkonet, well, he gets another kill for the team. That's 3-1 right now for Ventus Esports. Oh, the hook lands. It's going to deal quite a bit of damage right here. Flash will force the Ignite will force the flash right here. So maybe now Dipsy can make something happen around the bot lane, which is a lane we are kind of expecting Celestial Gaming to work around.
Yeah, I think they really want to play around bottom with this Lucian Thresh into the Jinx Diana matchup. They need to make something happen here because they're falling behind on other parts of the map. Top lane they're behind, mid lane they're behind, jungle they're kind of ahead, but on the other hand, Made has been able to make the kills happen. So if you're able to make a play on towards the bottom side, either by getting a big gank or by starting up the Ocean Dragon, which they can do with Dipsy having evolved those claws on the Cossacks, can take that dragon so easily. As Mide is looking for a play on towards the top side, is just going to be stealing away the enemy blue buff. This is going to be Dipsy's big time to make a play.
Made is up top lane, getting the blue buff. There's no real vision around the dragon right now for any of the teams, but they should know that they can go for this. Looks like Ventus Esports not going to really opt to have any pressure on the dragon, but this is a recall for Ambivert right now. It's his first recall. He really wants to not fall behind in his lane, so maybe Dips is going to try to solo this dragon, but it looks like it's going to just remain for now.
Yeah, not sure what Celestial Gaming have been able to get with this jungle lead and with this bottom lane pressure lead that they've got going for themselves. Not too much. You can even see almost 2 tower plates going down in the mid lane in favor of Ventus. So not the biggest lead, still 800 gold, around 830 in, just because Mide and Priestkonet have been able to make many things happen around the bottom side, and of course top lane first blood 1v1 goes over to sleeping, so he's definitely doing well.
And I think also like a little bit of the scariest part of this, oh, never mind this, in the mid lane a huge play comes up again as Made is everywhere on his Lee Sin, showing why this is such a dangerous champion. Sleeping even on the turret, doesn't really care too much about this Sion as he has fallen behind so much. Can't really wave clear with a Sion versus 3 champions and all of this range damage coming out from Crystalline.
This is such an intelligent play from Ventus Esports. Not only are they avoiding the losing 2 versus 2 matchup, they've also got Jinx. And Jinx is amazing at taking towers with this minigun. 3 points into this into the minigun, giving her 80% attack speed. Once you've got that stacked up, it's going to be taking this tower so much quicker than the Lucian. First blood tower is going to be going over to them, and it's not even going to be a contest for who gets it faster. So really utilizing the strengths of the Jinx and dodging away from Jinx's weaknesses at the same time right here.
Absolutely, and I think they might even be able to save this bot lane turret as Made is moving towards it. The turret plating makes it so much more difficult to kill it, especially with a Lucian who's kind of a spell slinger. You can't just auto-attack like a Jinx does, so they're actually leaving the turret for now. He's going to sacrifice both the turret and the dragon, and I'm not too sure about this, as I think Made could actually has stopped this from happening so much easier than he thinks that he could have.
That's possible. Still, I think Dipsy made a correct choice. They're going to secure the Ocean Dragon, which is going to be quite impactful early on, especially when you've got a lot of mana-reliant champions that argue both Lucian, Ryze. Lucian and Ryze are very reliant on being able to use that mana for your spells, and Ocean Dragon, its effect is stronger the lower you are on HP or mana, the more you regenerate. So still good price to get, but I'd prefer the 2k gold lead that Ventus has got going for them.
Absolutely, and also look at the jungle difference right here made with all of these ganks he's been able to do. Even though he's fallen behind in CS in jungle camps, he is just like a couple of 100 gold behind Dipsy, who got the first blood. He's been able to get so much farm, and now also made going for the Rift Herald, which will open up even more of the map, enabling even more of those turret plates.
You can see both of the teams kind of playing around the side of the map that they are strong on, Celeste focusing on the bot side, securing the dragon, while Ventus went for the top lane and got the Rift Herald. So it's a very intelligent play.
Look at the mid lane.
That could be a dive coming in for Sleeping. Can be able to make this happen. If you're able to get the dive with the Rift Herald, that's going to mean tower as well. Kuhlberg needs to peel for his mid laner, but he might be running into a hard situation here.
And Sleeping is here as well. He's going to hold on to his heroic charge. He's instead just going to use his ultimate. Make sure no one is around, although he actually misses. In the end, those are even more turret plates and even more gold, but a flash forward is going to sacrifice the life of Quicksand, as Priestlund is having to sacrifice his life as well under this turret. Those are two quick pickups. Double kill now for Celestial Gaming, playing around their strong bot lane, and now Sleeping also a little bit in trouble. Teleport coming in, turret is really low, but can they finish this off? There comes the big play right now by Made, flashing forward. Made picks up, he's gonna kill him spree now. Priestlund on the way as well. Celestial Gaming now in a heap of trouble. Can they avoid all of this damage, all of this CC? The close answer is no, they cannot. A big flash though, it's not gonna be quite enough by Sandia. The minion attacks are in the air, but not enough to kill Priestlund, who is ahead now. Almost 2k gold.
Such a close fight.
Oh! The safeguard is going to keep Priestlund alive yet again. Priestlund telling not even close. Has made also making sure to show that he is a force to be reckoned with.
And I was about to really praise Celestial Gaming for that play, because that's what I've been talking about the entire early game. Play around this winning bottom side. You got your jungler ahead. You really just need to force this, make something happen, and they did just that. Very nice, aggressive flashing plays from Ambivert and Iski on the bottom side, but the teleports came in for Ventus, and with the gold lead that they had going for themselves, around 2.5k, now 3.5k after that fight, they were able to secure that.
Kuhlberg actually not looking very tanky on this Sion. I'm not sure if we can even survive this. It doesn't look like it. Oh, Made, he misses his Sonic Wave. And this means Kuhlberg actually, I think, can get away from this situation. A little bit dangerous there for the Sion, who has fallen behind so much. Although not too much in CS, but it's just Sleeping just has so much priority on this map.
You can see this duo, Made and Priscorn, they've been just walking together for the entire game. This duo has been rubber banded to each other. Just been staying around, making the plays together, and it's been working out so well. 7-0 and 4 so far if you add the score lines of these two players. Really are the big stars for Ventus Esports in this game. And I mean, we've been talking so much about having, I mean, I remember last season the only thing I talked about was having a strong mid-jungle duo in these sort of games is the most important thing that you can have. If I could choose two roles to have winning, it's going to be the mid lane and the jungle, because then you can impact the rest of the map so well.
Absolutely. Now, it's really true, and just Made and Priestlund showing what you can do with this. Priestlund is ahead, soon to be almost a full item completed over Zandia on the Syndra and the Lee Sin as well. I mean, even though we talked so much about Dipsy in the early stages, and we just said like he should have been able to do more with that free kill that he got, and in the end he has farmed really. He got a lot of farm, he stayed even with Made, but that is not something you want to do when you're the one ahead. It's something you don't want to do. You do not want to AFK and recall up top lane, even though you're playing Rise. Is he going to be able to get away though? And he is with the Realm Warp. Managed to get out of harm's way just before that Sonic Wave connected.
That was a nice play, being able to escape from that as the Janna Shield comes in to save the mid lane tower. But yeah, as you were saying, I don't think it's a bad thing for Dipsy to farm for level 6, because that's such a big power spike for the cost 6, but then you really need to make things happen immediately. You need to secure the dragons, play around the winning lane, which is the bottom one, and he was kind of able to do that, but at that point Made and Priscorn had already run away with the winning 2 versus 2. Still, only 4K gold, if you want to say only 4K gold 16 minutes in, but Ocean and Cloud Dragon going over to Celestial Gaming as well. So in the end, I don't think this is that big of a lead for Ventus, especially since so much of the gold is on the Lee Sin, who won't really scale that well.
No, it's very true. The Lee Sin has gotten a lot of this gold, but also want to talk about the Syndra, who is ahead quite a bit. I think what worries me the most is the Celestials Gaming's their bot lane that we wanted to see make most of these two very important picks. Didn't really do that much with it, although they managed to get that 2v2 kill on Quickstep. And that was really important, but they couldn't capitalize, they couldn't get the turret, and the huge rotation from Krislund and Quickset. Like, that was just a brilliant move to go up top lane and secure the first Tower Blood. They got the mid turret and a lot of platings down bot lane, as well as Made and Priest got down there. So there's a lot of global gold in the bag for Ventus Esports.
Yeah, for sure, they definitely got the pretty decent lead right now. Just able to get away with the Lantern. Baron not really close to coming up. When it spawns, though, we've got two pretty good Baron teams killing Baron right here. On one side, you got the Jinx with the crit items, with the minigun, who's really strong at that. And oh,
that is a secured kill on Ambivert, who did not respect the damage that a Syndra and a Lee Sin, who are fed beyond belief, can dish out. As we just said, all of this gold is in their hands, and Eski is the second victim now. As Ventus Esports moving forward, Sleeping doesn't even care about this damage. Look at the shields on him as well. He is so tanky, the damage is huge, and Kuhlberg can hardly handle it, let alone his squishy bot lane.
Oh, are they gonna be cracking open the inhib tower here? Yes, that is gonna happen. And Sleeping, he's just going ham on this Poppy. So aggressive, so strong with the Sheen doing so much damage. But the inhib tower going down, that is the big thing here for Ventus Esports, because if at any point Celestial Gaming gets caught out, this is gonna be an inhib going down, and frankly, it's will be quite hard for them not to get caught out when you're up against a Lee Sin and a Syndra that are this strong. So much potential to make the picks happen.
I just want to say, making a Poppy look like a burst mage is not something easy to do, but right now I feel that what Sleeping is doing is making it look so easy, just going in, getting so much damage off. And look at this, 1v3, doesn't even care. Moving away now, just a little bit, but Made is there as well, jumping in, avoiding most of that damage, and look at that beautiful composition, look at that beautiful combo he managed to ban. Meaning that Zandia is out of this fight, although Made might have been enough more than he can chew. Here comes the death sentence. Are they going to turn this around? No, the shields are just too big, and Ambivert can't make anything happen. Ulting away now, Kuhlberg can't handle this front line alone, and Dipsy as well was not really able to do anything on this Kha'Zix. Finally, the ultimate Krislund, that was a huge mega death rocket in the back of Ambivert. Again, he had his flash, didn't react in time.
Absolutely, and the big thing there, I think, was Zandia using the teleport to a ward in the middle of the lane. Krislund and Quickset just stands next to it and says, oh, you're gonna TP in here. I don't think you're able to cancel that. Throws the Jinx traps on towards the ward where he is TPing in, and just kills one-shot Zandia before he can do anything. He's not having a great time on this rise.
Yeah, and look at that damage as well. Dipsy just tries to get in a good position, immediately is chunked out, like 5 HP left, and has to back out. The only saving grace right now for Celestial Gaming is that it's not an Infernal Dragon, because this is a dragon that they need to surrender. I do not think they're able to fight just straight ahead versus Ventus Esports right now, as they are popping off in every single lane.
I'm not even sure if Ventus can make some sort of a Baron play happen right now, because Jinx with the minigun and with the Ardent, which is not quite completed yet, it's gonna be there quite soon though for the Janna. That's so much damage on towards the Baron, and you got the Poppy, you can tank that for days as well. So if Celestial Gaming are caught out of position, if they're not ready for it, this could be a Baron going down quickly. Dipsy making a play though!
Oh, Dipsy making a big play, but not quite managing to pull it off. Quickseth with a sliver of HP gets out of harm's way, of course, with some help from Priest Kunat. And I think that was the main thing that Dipsy was a little bit worried about. What happens if Priest Kunat presses that R button? And a good Sonic Wave is going to land on the correct target, although Made, not suffering from the Lee Sin syndrome, is going to jump after him, as that would have been, as they say, bad. Friesland up top lane, pushing right now. And this is a good Baron pressure right now by Vitality Esports. Well, not Vitality. No, that would be another team. Of course, I apologize.
That would be
Esports.
another team.
Yeah, that would be a completely different team, although, dare I say, they look like... No, I'm not going to say it anyways. Although, Friesland is a stop right now. That was not the play they were looking for, as Made had to sacrifice his life. It's the point where Lee Sin starts to sort of fall off a little bit, so he couldn't really survive the combined damage. Celestial Gaming picking up 1 for 1.
Yeah, especially if you're building full damage on the Lee Sin, you're going to be having a hard time here, but you can see what happens with a Syndra when you're this far ahead and you're controlling vision in the enemy jungle. There's really nothing you can do except go for the hard engage. That's what happened, but the Sion just has to flash out immediately, and then you know you're not having a great time if your Sion engages and then just flashes out first thing.
Absolutely, it's a big problem, and right now, Chris Gunnar has been the main carry together with Made for the team, and Friesland has been farming. And here he is now on a farm jinx with the Infinite Edge, with the Runan's Hurricane on a good timing, 22 minutes into the game. Baron is up, they have almost full vision around this. There is nothing here that Celestial Gaming can use apart from that one ward, which they couldn't even use either because it was a Crow ward next to it.
And as soon as Ventus picks up this Ocean Dragon, I think they just need to set up around the Baron. You could start it if you really wanted to, but just baiting around that with the Scatter the Weak, the Syndra Stun, that's going to be the big way that you're able to close out this game, because when Celestial Gaming tries to approach that, if a Syndra Stun lands, it's going to be a Lee Sin follow-up, a Poppy follow-up, someone's going to be going down for sure, and then you can turn around and actually try and take down the Baron. As Ardent Sensor is now completed for Quickset, and Crysland has his Infinity Runan's Hurricane item combination as well, so this Baron is going to be going down quickly if they choose to go for it.
Absolutely.
Oh, they haven't cleared out the vision properly here yet.
Now, there is one ward, but I'm not sure Celestial Gaming dare to go for this.
I think they have to make some sort of a play here.
Can they do it though? As Sleeping comes in, he finds Dipsy. Dipsy losing half of his HP just from that, but a good hook landing onto Priest Conan. No damage follow-up though, as Zandia's damage just wasn't enough. And Sleeping 1v2ing this, no problem at all. Is he going to die though? Zandia is there. No, the rest of the team are about to follow up on this. Dropping the Baron instead, turning it around, finding Ambivert, and are they going to for the inhibitor instead, or for the finish even? Could be it for Kunat, and a little bit of trouble here. Dipsy not going to be able to find him. And Dipsy has to run away from this, but Dipsy actually playing this well now, slowing Ventus down just a little bit.
As long as Dipsy is alive, this is a scary Baron to go for. You need to peel off with someone to keep control over Dipsy, because he definitely can go for a steal here with the Kha'Zix jump, and there is no one going for Dipsy at the moment. Baron is going low. Could this be the steal to come back?
Dipsy doesn't have vision. He can't go for it. Oh, fairly close, but not close enough. That is Dipsy gone. A big attempt, but that is another plane they're gonna lose, as Zandia trying to help his jungler. Those are 2 down now with a dead inhibitor in the mid lane and the Baron buff for Team Ventus Esports.
Yeah, they can definitely go for something here with 5 versus 3 situation. At least get the inhibitor in the mid lane, then you can reset and try to push down some other part of the map. You can see Sleeping with the tankiness. He doesn't care about anything. Crystal takes this down with Athene's Ardent Sensor Janna just on his back, being able to keep him healthy at all these times. So just get a quick reset here and then siege down the base. Perhaps the 4-1 split, Sleeping off the bottom side and the rest of your team going to the top side. And I have a very hard time seeing Celestial Gaming answering that. They need to find some sort of a pick if that's the case. Use Eski on this Thresh or Kulberg on this side and make some sort of a pick happen, because the straight up 5v5 is basically impossible to win at the moment.
We've seen Eski manage to land a lot of hooks now, but there isn't really any follow-up to it. Zandia does not have the damage that is needed. Neither does Ambivert, and Dipsy's trying, but having to get close to all of this burst damage and also getting past the Poppy, getting past all of the CC, it's just proven to be too much of a task for him, even though he has the damage that he needs.
So this is Yeah, oh, Dipsy's getting caught. Or
Oh,
Sandia rather.
Sandia has been caught out, and look at the ultimate of Priest Kunet. It's huge, chasing this down now. Sleeping is tanking the turret for ages, and there is nothing to stop him. Another inhibitor going down. This could be one final fight, 3 versus 5, but the ultimate, the full ultimate from Ambivert does nothing to Sleeping. Mate jumping forward, flashes out, hook lands, Sleeping up now, doesn't even die from that as he can use his stopwatch to survive even in that situation. This is an open Nexus right now, finally managing to land the important hook on Krislund, but it's not enough. Nexus open, those are all the minions, and that is the final game versus Celestial Gaming and Ventus Esports.
Wow, that's the sort of the finish to a game where you're sitting here thinking, what is the best way to execute this? Do you go like a 4-1 with Sleeping in the top side? Do you put Sleeping in the bottom side and the other 4 top? Or do you just group all together and they just end up walking down bottom? Sandia just walks up, gets stunned by Syndra, gets one shot, and then the game is over. So no big IQ plannings are needed here. If you're just able to make the catch happen with the Fed Syndra, that's going to be the game over, and such a good game for Priscornet.
And also Sleeping just simply walking up under the turret, tanking like 5 shots, not even caring, and just making sure that no one gets close, and if they do, the steadfast presence makes sure they don't leave. And my big question right now is what happened in game 2? Like, this game looked like a complete stomp and something that we expect that, well, Denmark has always been really good. Like, they have so many good players, but Celestial Gaming put up such a strong fight versus this. They had a good plan, and they couldn't quite execute on it. What I expected to have seen in Game 2 is somehow Celestial Gaming having this like grand plan and actually executing it flawlessly or something. Like, I want to know what happened.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you could see that, of course, as Celestial Gaming took one game of Ventus, which we did not get to see, and maybe they abused the bottom lane. I think Quickseth was kind of the weak link, got caught out level 1, got hooked and caught out in the lane after that. So if you're just able to play through your bottom lane against Ventus, I think that's a way where you can win. If you can abuse that bottom lane, which looked quite weak here. But if you're not able to do that, Might and Priscornet just takes over the game.
Absolutely. Priestcornet and Might, those are the players we want to talk about next time we see Ventus Esports. But for now, we're going to see more of Celestial Gaming. They will be back playing versus Denmark yet again. This time, the team Fortress. So do not miss out on that. We will be right back.